Inside the 12 continues as we are 3 weeks away from the 2025 Phillips 66 Men's Basketball Championship. Teams are jockeying for seeding. Plenty of big games and storylines this weekend, and a lot on the line for Kansas State at BYU. We're talking about TCU and Arizona State. A lot of big games coming up. What to watch, presented by Children's Health. We're going to start with West Virginia at Baylor. You're going to be on that game. 2 p.m. on ESPN2. What do you feel Baylor needs to do to get that win at home? That's going to be a huge game for them.
Yeah, well, they can't do this, Pete, but I know they wish they could. Get Josh Ojanwuna back. Oof. I mean, the injury is so devastating.
Yeah.
Because when you look how the roster was constructed, you have Josh Ojanwuna, and the backup 5 was Norchad. And then you don't have a guy that can play at the 5 spot. So now you have no Josh Ojanwuna, so you have to start Norchad at the 5. And we've seen at times Norchad is a little bit foul prone, can pick up 2-3 fouls early. And if he's on the bench and he needs a break or he gets in foul trouble, who's the backup 5?
Yeah.
You got to go with Celestine. Celestine at the 5, and you know he's not a true 5. So I'm interested to see if Coach DeVries really attacks the inside and the interior of Baylor, but they have to be able to figure it out at the 5 spot.
Yeah, and we get on Norchad Omier because of his fouling, but it's just because we love it so much, right? Like the competitive fire he brings to the Big 12 and to Baylor. And when he's not on the floor, that team has a huge hole in the middle. All right, Cincinnati, number 10, Iowa State. That is going to be 4 Eastern on ESPN2. Cincinnati's won 3 straight games. What's it going to take to make it 4?
They have to knock down shots. We talked about Jizzle James earlier on in the show. When you look at him, when you look at Day Thomas, these 2 guys have to play better than Lipsey and Gilbert. I think whichever backcourt plays the best in this game will be the winner. If Cincinnati can continue to make shots, their offense is rolling, they're able to starting to score more points. I think whoever plays better, the backcourt, will win this game. Jizzle James, Day Thomas have to have big nights. If
you had to pick one reason that Cincinnati's turned it around, what is it?
I think it's the guard play. I think it's Jizzle James and Day Thomas. I mean, that would be my probably 2 reasons. But it'd be those 2 guys. I mean, Lukosius is up and down. Skillings is up and down. Dylan Mitchell is just really more like a lob threat defender. But those 2 guys, when you look at their numbers and you look at their progression of the season, they have been constant. They have been the reason why teams are struggling to guard them. They get into the lane whenever they want to. They can make the right read or passing the basketball, and they can knock down shots. Jizzle James, Day Thomas have to have big nights.
We talked about Houston's ability to knock down shots this season. L.J. Cryer and Emmanuel Sharp, 2 very big reasons. They're 6th in the country as they head to play number 13 Arizona. That's going to be 2 p.m. on ESPN on Saturday. Starting with Houston, what are your thoughts?
Well, Emmanuel Sharp finally got back to who he was last game against Baylor. Because you look at the last 5 games, he's been in single digits every single game except the last one. We finally saw a small glimpse of who he is, him being more aggressive. I think the ankle injury honestly bothered him more than, people would, tend to lead on. But I think the last game, he's trending in the right direction. He has to have a big night. When you look at the guards of the backcourt of Arizona, I think that Houston can match up with them. But they can't do it unless they have a full trio of Sharp, Uzan, and Cryer. Sharp has to be really, really good.
Well, they had a tough shooting night, Arizona did, when they were playing at Kansas State. How do they turn that around? Is that something that'll just change, or is that who they are?
I just think that was one bad night. That was an abysmal night. That was probably one of the worst shooting performances I've seen all season by any team.
But Kansas State was ice cold, too.
And Kansas State was ice cold, too. But I think that's also part of just Kansas State being so hot right now. Like, they just have they have the presence of God on that side right now, right? But
they got Jerome Tang.
They got Jerome Tang 100%. But I really do think that was just an off night. And I think that I won't repeat. What are the odds of that, right?
No, yeah.
So I truly think that if they can knock down shots, because you have to against this Houston defense, when Houston monsters you on the low block and they send 2, you have the advantage on the backside. You have to be able to knock down those shots, or you have no chance beating Houston.
All right, after this, you're going to tell me what the monster is, because everybody's talking about that monster defense.